This is Carson Edwards from the Boston Celtics, and you're listening to the Boiler Breakdown podcast hosted by Tanner Lee, Evan Webb, and Andrew Eiler.
What's going on, Boiler Nation? I'm sure everybody's just as thrilled as the three of us are. Woo! So we decided to do a rare live show right after a game. We've never done this, I don't think.
I think we've tried about a couple times, but
we didn't do it after an IU. I feel like we did this like 4 years ago, whenever maybe the first time.
We did it last year. We did it after the Bob Knight game. We did like a day later.
Yeah, that was our highest viewed show I believe we've ever had. So maybe it'll get broken tonight. Who knows? So, but
welcome.
I wasn't even nervous.
Yeah, was that IU or was that Nebraska tonight? I don't know, just a normal game. Yeah.
Oh man, it's I just going in, I was confident. I know I told you guys 77-66. I think I actually said that the other night on the podcast.
You were pretty freaking close.
I was close. 81-69 was the final. So
way
it's now
more
been
points than I expected.
1,790 days. You got to go back to February 20th, 2016, since Indiana's beat Purdue in basketball. Purdue's won 11 of the last 12 in the series, 8 in a row now, including the last 5 in Bloomington.
What's it now? How many? Like 11 of 12 or something?
11 of 12 in the series. Yep. It's
Archie's
some nice domination. I think it's getting close to the longest streak over Indiana in the last 100 years. I think it's pretty close. So,
and I don't know. I feel like Purdue's kind of on the upswing the next couple years too.
I feel like it too. I watched the game at my parents' house and drive back home. I just kept thinking, man, we got Caleb First coming in next year, Trey Kaufman-Renn. We got Fletcher Lawyer the year after that. We got
you have Ivy Gillis Newman.
Plus, you can see Ivy's potential tonight.
Yeah, it's. I mean, technically, like Painter said in the post game, we have no seniors this year. Technically, we won't have any seniors next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody loses a year. Now, I doubt many, if any of those now juniors will come back in 2 years, but you never know.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't mind a couple of them.
Yeah, sure. Heck, the way Travion Williams playing, I don't know if he'll be back next year.
I don't know.
I know. I don't know if
Garza came back.
I don't know if he'll ever be a guy who lasts in the pros, but man, he's really starting to play well. I mean,
like when he hit that jumper, I was like, man, he is really fun to watch. And Andrew, I know you said in our group chat that he's slowly becoming probably one of your favorite players, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting there too. Where he's just fun to watch.
Great hand.
I liked him, but yeah, now he's just dominant. The last I don't know, I totally forget. I feel like the last season and a half where he's just kind of, you can just tell you kind of could see it, because I remember when he came in, I mean, he needed to get in better shape, but I mean, he had the touch. He was pretty athletic for how big he was, and I mean, he was just unique, very unique, and you can tell.
He got great hands, great rebounder, great passer. He could shoot free throws a little better. But
there was one pass that he caught. I have no idea how the heck he caught it. Like, he threw it was like a lob to like 4 IU guys, and Travion somehow came down with it and made
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Travion. Speaking of Travion, he was 9 of 15 from the field, assuming these stats aren't truly final, but pretty close. 9 of 15 from the field, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and 4 of 9 from the free throw line.
Did I honestly have not watched much of IU before this. I've watched a little bit, but not much. I'm reading about it. Did they, like, the first 5 minutes of the game, did they really go after the offensive glass more than they ever have? It felt like, and then they kind of backed off.
They're usually pretty good offensively, because usually it's, Race and Trace they usually crash on it, especially Race. He crashes the boards pretty aggressively. Even someone like Galloway, he's just flying around like a co-rec player out there and just being scrappy.
I felt like the first 5 minutes they were dominating. Purdue was struggling defensive glass, and then it kind of became – it almost seemed like IU was laying back to get back on defense and not crashing the offensive glass as much. So I didn't know if it just seemed like a very clear shift. I'm sure it was Purdue and Painter getting on the guys to box out, but then it seemed more so like IU was content with getting back on defense.
Yeah, I thought I was a little worried about how this game would start, just because, it's been 4 years, almost going on 5 years since they've beaten us. I know they want this badly.
Do they though?
I mean, there were. I mean, I was reading before the season started. They were interviewing, players like Galloway and especially the newcomers, and they were saying like this was the game that they're looking forward to the most because they're tired. They've seen the games plan out and they're tired. They're going to a school that's been on a losing end, and at least according to the younger guys. But so they've had this circled for a long time, as much as I'm sure some of our fans don't want to admit that they care about this game a lot, but plus a
bunch of them have played a bunch together. I mean, Hunter, Sasha, Newman, Franklin, Finney. I mean, they're all.
I mean, Franklin and Isaiah are best friends.
And Newman and Franklin played on the same team, and
Isaiah and
Hunter's
Trace
friends with somebody. Yeah,
Isaiah and Trace, they played on the same AAU team. So I mean, all these guys, they're all good friends.
Yep.
Not friends. Friends, if they go to that other school.
Got a couple comments here from Skip. Said Mason, early season sleeper MVP. I'm assuming. Thank God Archie was Johnny Hustle. ACC point guard that can't teach game awareness. Great win. Brantley needs to teach
deliberate.
Thank you. Line drive.
Get late.
Banks high off backboard as means for assists for easy putbacks or dunks for Trey. Exactly, Trey.
Yeah, I agree. Mason's just doing. He does a lot of the little things. I mean, something that he doesn't fill up. I mean, I'm telling you what he had. 7 points, 2 or 3 from the field, 0-1 from 3, 3 or 4 from free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. He did have 4 fouls in 27 minutes. So,
and he got a bloody lip.
He did.
And Skip also said 1925 to 1935 was the last time we had this winning streak, which had national championship and the decade greatest player a part of that streak, referring to John Wooden there.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, making some history. It's just going through the game. I think I was just so confident because I just think Matt Painter is that much better of a head coach than Archie Miller.
Yeah, that's what I felt pretty good after. I mean, I know first half didn't end great with Purdue stretching the lead, and then the last 4 minutes it got cut to 4. I really wasn't all that worried. The same thing, Tan. I just knew that okay, Painter's just the better coach. He's going to make adjustments and.
My worries. I was obviously, as I was telling you guys, not confident in this game, but I'm also not confident in a lot of games. I feel like, and just again, I was like, man, we've had the streak. It's just too good to keep going. I just feel like something's got
to stop eventually.
It's gonna suck.
I don't know. Does it have to?
No.
But I was just like, man, I could just see, them coming out hot. Franklin was back in the lineup. It did not look like his ankle was bothering him at all. I mean, he had a couple of really good drives and some good moves for step backs, and they weren't hitting. We were hitting like crazy. I think we were like 7 or 10 from 3, and we were up 4 after the half with Trace Jackson sitting on the bench for about 10 minutes of that half, and that didn't make me feel good. And I was like, okay, water's going to find its level. We're going to go, 3 of 10 and from 3 in the second half. They're going to catch fire, and it's going to kind of even out. But I mean, we shot 65% from 3, which is stupid, and they were 17%. So. It's
they're not like a great shooting team. They're better than they've been, but they're not a good.
They had some open looks. That's usually when they really take advantage. Is when guys like Hunter, Franklin, and Finney and even Durham really make people play when they're
streaky. Durham's streaky.
When we overcommit to guarding the post, but thank God that he's going to hit tonight.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to IU going forward the rest of the season because
tough stretch.
And like I've been saying, this year it's so wacky without crowds and stuff. These coaches really got to get their guys up to play, and the guys got to get themselves up to play. And I think we're going to start seeing some teams in the Big Ten start to fall off, and maybe they could be one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, their bench was definitely feeding them energy in that first half, especially when they cut the lead, and we got up to 9, and then all of a sudden they got it right back down to 6, and then eventually 4 for half, and. I mean, they were definitely creating energy, but definitely, second half, you just tell, once they started missing shots, it was, it just felt like it was dead. And that was I really haven't noticed, obviously, crowds not being at games this year, but this was the first game where I was like, well, this is weird, because I'm used to just, obviously, that place holds 17,000 people, and they pack it out only on the important games. It was just weird not to hear, the boos or them going crazy, on some of Trace Jackson's moves and Lund's and stuff. But
back-to-back games, I'd say, because without the zone there, that was weird up in the Breslin Center.
Yeah.
But when's the last time Purdue's had 2 back-to-back road wins?
In the Big Ten?
I mean,
probably when they won the Big Ten.
Yeah, Michigan State and Indiana back-to-backs.
And this is their only 2 road wins so far this year, which is, I thought, Brian Newbert brought up a really good part or a good point, Golden Black, of, was this Michigan State game similar to the Wisconsin game 2 years ago, where we were struggling or very inconsistent. We found a way to win at Wisconsin, and then just obviously we know the rest went on to win the Big Ten and make a deep tournament run. Not saying I don't think this team has that capability, but it's weird things have happened. But we put together 2 solid games so far. Michigan State game wasn't really solid, but we grinded one out, and this one was just. It's hard to complain when you shoot 11 of 17 from 3.
Absolutely. Coming off a game where he hit 3 of 24 up at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
So
still interesting because they still had 14 turnovers. You can see that they definitely had stretches. So of the 40 minutes, maybe there was 5 to 10 minutes of it where it was fair, where it was sloppy, and they had moments where they're kicking it around, and they missed some opportunities to blow it open.
Oh yeah.
Sooner.
100%.
So that's what it's like. It was good because they had the lead from literally the start, basically.
I often remind myself when it gets sloppy like that these guys are young.
Oh yeah,
they're learning.
Oh yeah.
But we saw a lot of young guys step up today. So
it was frustrating when you see the older guys making dumb passes. Like I know Wheeler had some just really dumb passes that was really frustrating.
Hunter had a couple mistakes against the press.
Sometimes, I remember late in the game, Travion tried to get a little fancy and do some no-look passes. It's like, there's a time and place for those. And
that one time when Gillis cut, just a basic bounce pass would have worked there, and he does the no-look, which I think Gillis is the best cutter on the team. He doesn't always catch the ball cleanly, but he finds ways to get open.
He plays hard.
Some of the passes to him are
really difficult
balls that he's like no chance to catch. Unless it hits him like in the chest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there was one into the basket where he had a great cut that I think Trevion zipped there. That was like, nope, good idea, but not gonna.
Yeah.
Skip with a bold prediction here, saying Ivy will be triple-double guy by March if Hunter and Thompson stall or pound the ball without purpose.
He's aggressive.
It happens, but triple-double, that's pretty rare category there. But never know.
Trying to find Let me find his stats here.
But man, it just feels good. I don't know what else to put it. Oh man,
I would like to see. I was hoping to see Edey do a bit more. He only took 4 shots.
Yeah, he kind of struggled at times. He kind of struggled at the hoop tonight a little bit.
Yeah, there was one time he had a good look, a good little hook, and it just didn't fall. Which is going to happen. Him and Thompson were the only 2 that played but didn't score.
Thompson had 2 free throws.
Yeah, that was. I was like, man, if you're gonna do anything while you're on the court, make your freaking free throws. Like you're a good shooter.
I know when they had multiple times that they could have fouled Trevion there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes his 2 at the end. Trevion and Newman made them, but who missed? Thompson missed. Who else missed?
Travion missed some also.
Yeah, but okay, he made them at the end. The first one.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Morton had a 3. He only took 1 shot, and it was a 3 that he made that I was a little terrified when he took that shot.
But Ivy's 2 deep threes.
Yeah.
And then he hit another one after a foul. So, he was feeling it tonight. You could tell he was
start of the second half, yeah. You had Gillis with 7, Hunter with 11. I thought Hunter was great. This game, he only scored 11, but it was the first half. He was big. It was good to see him. Yeah, it was good to see him knock down some shots. And he really started the last couple of games. Hopefully this gets him going. He's played really well in these games the last couple. Especially last year. When he's going, we're a different team, that's for sure. Newman had 12, 6 of 6 from the line, which is awesome. 2 of 3 from 3. He had some big threes to start the game. Had 2 really great. They only credit him with 1 block. I thought he had 2 blocks at the end. But at 1 block, 2 steals. Did have 3 turnovers, but 6 rebounds. That was just a solid performance from him. Really, we had some young guys step up. I mean, Sasha only had 8 points, but was 2 of 3 from 3. He fouled out.
He didn't start the second half, right?
No, Ivy did in his place.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was because of the technical foul, which was it was a weak technical foul, double technical.
Who got the technical on IU?
Race.
That's what I thought. Because,
Yeah.
he's the one who was pushing, but then I felt like the announcers were very confused.
Like, the fact that they even gave him a race, I could see them giving something to Sasha, because Sasha initiated. Sasha fell into him, and Race might have brushed him off, and Sasha kind of went back at him, and then Race was just like, what are you doing?
The thing that bugged me was the reason Sasha bumped. Sasha got his ankle rolled up.
Right,
he was grabbing his ankle, hopping around,
yeah.
and he kind of just fell. And then Race pushed, and then Sasha pushed, which I get why they wanted to stop it. Of course, you don't want to chip, especially with COVID. We're seeing more stoppage of things like that really quickly. But to call 2 technicals, I thought maybe to call a foul on both.
I think that's really nothing. I think you just break it up. Especially nothing had happened like that earlier. If something had happened like that earlier, that's when the ref should say, warning, next time this happens, technical. Just kind of like in baseball, you hit a batter, you give them a warning. But yeah, that was
officials. Do we really expect anything better at this point?
God.
And the announcers, we've had that crew back-to-back games on Fox Sports 1. I'm glad we're not on Fox Sports 1 for a while. Tired of those guys.
No, I tweeted from our account. Would you rather have those guys or Bardo?
Yes, Bardo.
That's why
at least somebody else can drown him out.
I mute it. I watch probably 75% of the games on mute.
I should sync my phone up with the time and pause my TV to listen to Rob Blackman and Bobby Buckets. I should, but I never do it. So, but we'll see. Purdue's doesn't have much time to rest. They're back at it Sunday, assuming this game happens Sunday against Penn State. Penn State hasn't played a game since December 30th. They've had the last 4 postponed. Purdue hasn't played a home game since Christmas. So
wow, yeah, you're right. Wow, so, I knew it hadn't been a while, but
so we're gonna have a bunch of home games coming up here towards the end of the season, but we don't get 2 in a row like we thought. We thought we were gonna get Penn State at home and then Michigan next Friday. Well, we have now a trip to Columbus next Tuesday in between, because that's hopefully makes room for Nebraska the following week. Would be Nebraska and Minnesota at home. It's weird. It's just one of those years where schedules are already getting flip-flopped and changed around, but 4 games in the next 9 days.
Including ending it with Michigan, which is
freaking Hunter Dickinson.
I was watching their game against Wisconsin.
I love the fact that they'll come in most likely undefeated in top 5. I love the challenge. Only time we play them this year.
Yeah.
Why not? Good time to make the nation aware of Purdue this year.
That's going to have another 36-point game from Travion again.
Hey, he's rolling right now. He's playing well, but
double tonight.
As well as he's playing, he wouldn't make first team all conference right now. So
yeah, which is just testament to the how stupid deep the conference is. Which
do you guys think that Archie Miller will be Indiana's coach next year?
Yes.
After that, no. I think he gets 1 more year.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think he gets kind of a pass, no matter if they make a tournament or not, just because it's a weird year and everything. But his seat's extremely hot next year.
He has done so little with so much talent.
Yeah. He's had, obviously made the first splash with Romeo Langford, who was, top 10 player in the nation coming out of high school, McDonald's All-American, the next Damon Bailey, according to some of their fans or whatever it was.
And Juwan Morgan on that team, too.
Yep. And some of these guys, too, on the team now or on that team. Green, he was a very streaky shooter, but he was on those teams. Then you obviously followed with getting Trace Jackson Davis, 5-star or borderline 5-star. McDonald's All-American, Mr. Basketball. You get Robert Finney, who's just a solid player. Franklin's a solid player, but it's haven't really developed into
How about Lander?
Yeah, he would probably he'd probably be Mr. Basketball this year just because of the bias. It'd be interesting because there's really usually an indie kid probably has or an indie suburb kid has a better shot just because of the proximity to just being the proximity for like the media. But this year, all the best players were the far corners to stay with what would have been Christian Lander, and then obviously First and Kaufman, Wren. Those guys are all not even close to Indy. It would have been interesting. I bet Lander would have been the favorite just because he was the 5-star. Probably would have been a McDonald's All-American again. And he looked. I mean, I know he's a 17-year-old, 18. He might be 18. I have no idea how old he is, but he looked awful. I mean, I just can't his shots just. And I think he's a pretty good scorer. I think he's a pretty decent shooter too, coming out of high school. But it's like, my God,
he doesn't play much. I've kind of watched the box score. He doesn't really play.
Exactly. No, he doesn't. And I don't know the kid at all. Didn't follow him in anything. But sometimes these 5-stars, like we see in college football all the time, if they get on campus, they're not playing, they're out of there. Yeah. And this year, when you can transfer next year without having to sit out a year, maybe he looks elsewhere. I have no idea on that. But
I think he gets a pass this year. Archie does, and then I would assume Trace Jackson leaves. I would think so. I would think, but his stock is probably falling just because obviously you have the as a freshman he did really well. He was a really good freshman. Borderline Big Ten freshman of the year, but he decided to stay. And then now it's just he didn't really show much improvement. I don't think. He's Trace Jackson Davis.
Well, I think he's majorly improved.
No, he's improved, but
not for the NBA. College player.
Yeah, he's great around the rim within 5 feet. He's a great rebounder, but
no jump shot.
Awful with his right hand. I would let him shoot jump shots outside of 10 feet all day if I was a coach, and that's just not going to cut it in the NBA. Maybe he'll get better. Obviously, when you can dedicate all your time to doing that and not having to worry about class or anything, but. Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like he would probably could have been a borderline, maybe first rounder last year, but I feel like now I'm not even sure he goes in the first round. Well, does Archie get a pass if he leaves? Because it's obviously a talent like that is gone, but I don't know. And I know they've only got one kid coming in next year so far. I would assume he probably plays the transfer market heavily because he's missed out on a lot of, obviously missed out on Kaufman. I know they missed on a couple other guys too. So it'll be interesting.
When it comes to NBA, it's always so hard to evaluate because the NBA loves the young potential. Mm-hmm. And the longer you stay sometimes in college, the more you hurt yourself, which is just weird, even if your skills get better. Like I know everybody, especially with events that have transpired lately with Caleb Biggie Swanigan, everybody said, oh, you definitely should have stayed another year. That was his time to go. His ceiling wasn't getting any higher. He could have came back and done great at Purdue, but he wouldn't have got drafted where he did.
Right.
So, same thing with Carson.
Yeah.
So,
There's
it'll be interesting, but didn't want to get off on too much of a tangent about Indiana there, because since we are, of course, a Purdue podcast. But
absolutely. Let's get back to the Purdue. Okay, one more. I know we haven't talked a little bit about it. Do you think is this a kind of a jumping off game for Jaden Ivey? His 13 is. The first game before he got hurt, did he have 15? That's not a season high for him. Is it 13? I think he had more in one of the first early games. I thought.
This was the best he shot the ball.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He strung together 2 pretty decent games. He obviously he didn't score a lot last against Michigan State, but he made some critical buckets, especially in the first half when we couldn't throw it in the ocean. So I think the biggest thing with him is just he needs to play. That's just the biggest thing. Same with I know Painter mentioned it on it was Rayfield Davis's podcast about Morton too. Is like he just wants to play him just to get him in there and just to get him. In the flow of the game, but not always with the best mix of players for the lineup. But they're going to have that with a younger team. But I think Ivey, the more he plays, the more impressed we'll be with him.
Yep.
And as he gets kind of back into it, I
like all these young guys. Usually on a Purdue team, there's like one young guy. I'm like, I don't really care for him, but I like all these guys. And it's just I'm not used to a Purdue team being this deep, and they're going to be even deeper next year.
That's what. Agree. That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, I like this team a lot. Just even one more year without any additions. They don't lose anybody.
I know.
So even just without adding Kaufman, Rennan, or First.
2 top 50 players.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's hard not to just smile. One thing about the future Purdue basketball, next 5 years should be pretty fun, I would think. So, but tonight felt good. Tonight, there's a lot of reasons to smile tonight. I know I'm gonna be wearing another Purdue polo to work tomorrow for sure. So
I'm trying to think of the last time we've had this long of a stretch between games against them, because now we're not playing them until March 6th or
Yeah, that's sorry.
It does seem early. Don't we? I thought it was usually around Valentine's Day.
Usually, I feel like we always play like around this time, and then again in February. Yeah, usually. So I think around this time 2 years ago is when we played Romeo at Mackey. I just remember the weather was awful that day. Trying to drive up there.
We
didn't play down there. I don't think we did. Or did we?
Yeah, we did. He had like 3 points down there.
That's right. Because he scored like 7 points total.
There's been seasons where we played down there once, but hardly ever is it at Mackey once. And now it's not. Now every year it's twice.
I think the last time it was at Mackey only was like 2013, my junior year.
Game. It was on my birthday.
We thought that was going to be the turning around point for that season, and nope. That's when no team from Indiana made the tournament.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2013, 2014, something like that. I don't remember.
Which right now, if the tournament started, Purdue's probably the only. I think. Okay, if today Indiana probably gets in, but Purdue and Indiana probably get in. Nobody else.
Why does IU get in? Who have they beaten?
I know. I know
they have Butler, a 3-6 Butler team.
And I know bracketologies don't matter, but the other day I looked and Purdue's 11th seed, IU's 9th. I'm like, how? The only thing I can think of is Purdue's bad loss to Miami because Miami's not good.
I was watching the Fox Sports 1 post game right before we hopped on here, and DeCourcy had, I think on Monday, his latest bracketology had us as a 12 seed as the last 4 in. And I think Indiana was also a 12, or they might have been like a 10 or an 11. But we were the last Big Ten team in because he had Maryland and Northwestern. Yeah,
I guess it'll change when IU loses like 4 of their next 5 or something.
They play Iowa next, and
Iowa twice. I think they play like Iowa twice in there. They play Michigan, I think, in there.
Yeah,
they're supposed to play Michigan State, but that was canceled at Michigan State, but that was just postponed.
I mean, we talk about how you have to bring it every night in the Big Ten, but it does look like Purdue's schedule on paper gets a little easier in about 2 weeks. But
yeah, I mean, I think Tanner, you hit it on the head earlier with I think it's gonna be a lot like football season where, because you're not playing in front of fans, games might mean a little less to some guys, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how some teams respond in just a short amount of, in a week or so. If a team goes on a little skid of losing a couple of games in a row and start falling. I mean, you look at Northwestern. I mean, they were
that's exactly
on top of the world 3 weeks ago, and now now not even projected to be in the tournament by some people. And it's going to be interesting to see how Michigan State, comes back. I was looking at, this is not Big Ten, but Andrew, more in your realm of the Big East. Someone said that Villanova hasn't played a game since December 23rd.
Yeah, I could see that. I know they've been out for a while. I mean, Butler went on,
and they're still ranked in the top 10. It's like, how is that even fair? It's like it's gonna be really interesting to see how the tournament is seeded, and when you look at someone like a Villanova, which we know is very good, but they played 25% less games than a 500 Big Ten team. It's gonna be weird.
Seeds might not matter as much this year. Just get in and play.
Which can be weird. Like if you're the highest seed, all of a sudden you get especially in the Big Ten where all the teams beat up on each other. It's like, I don't know if I want to play a 10 seed Indiana or Purdue in the tournament right now. That's gonna be some dangerous teams.
Because I mean the top 4 seeds aren't getting rewarded with location this year. It's all in it. So I mean, from that standpoint,
if there's fans anyway. So if there isn't fans, does location matter that much anyway? If you're not in so if Purdue's in Louisville or they're in Indianapolis, but there's no fans, obviously they'd rather be in Indianapolis because it's closer and it's more familiar. But is it that big a difference?
It doesn't really matter. But yeah, good point. Kind of debunked my point there.
But I mean, I don't know if there's going to be fans or not. I don't know that.
I don't know. I shouldn't say.
I hope they do what the Super Bowl is doing. I think I've heard the Super Bowl is going to do healthcare workers or something.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't hear that.
Healthcare worker. I think that initially we're going to try to get 20,000 in there, and then they decided health workers instead. So I don't know what their final. I don't think there has been a final decision yet, but they got.
I don't think so. I
don't know. A couple weeks left. I mean, Super Bowl 3 weeks away. So, but there will be fans. They won't have completely empty Super Bowl. It won't happen. There'll at least be some fans there somehow.
I mean, there's already fans at the NFL games, so
exactly, it's easier to spread out outside in the big stadiums.
Yeah.
Tonight was another fun one. This wasn't really, I mean, we're still posting the audio for this, of course, but it wasn't an official really podcast. We just wanted to come on and kind of chat and celebrate. We'll be back next week sometime with a more lengthy episode because we do have some football stuff to talk about, but that'll be next week. And
hopefully we have more football to talk about.
We'd have a D coordinator by now, but it hasn't happened. But I'm hoping by next week we have a D coordinator and a new addition to the wide receiver room. So,
yeah, a Rondell Moore clone.
That would be nice. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much because it's probably going to hurt. But Purdue starts classes Tuesday, so
gotta know soon.
Yeah, know soon.
Yeah.
So I read Kentucky doesn't start till 28th or
25th. I think I saw 25th.
Even the same for like some of these guys who are trying to figure out if they're coming back or not. You know, a guy obviously like JD Dellinger announced that he wasn't coming back, but guys like
we're down with two guys, I believe.
Anthony Watts and then
Lorenzo Neal.
He's
not coming back, but
no.
It'd be awesome if he did. I was stunned he came back last year.
Yeah, Watts would be huge if he came back for the middle. So But tonight's all about basketball. But I will say, ever since they let Diaco go, it seems like some good football things have been happening. So
surprise!
Hey, we're gonna talk about basketball, but wow, Purdue football has some great things coming.
I'm just saying they need some good mojo. They was getting killed online. It was bad.
Hey, we're gonna talk about the basketball game, but we may have a football transfer.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got Sunday versus
Penn State. Then Tuesday at Ohio State. Then Friday at home against Michigan. And then we're not scheduled until the next Saturday against Minnesota, but I think they're going to try to get Nebraska in there that week.
So we've gone 2-2 in this 4-game stretch, which, I mean,
yeah,
I would have taken probably 1-3. It would have been a little disappointing, but, I mean, get one. Probably this game would have been the one I wanted to get.
Sure.
I mean, this team's going to – I mean, kind of mentioned starting to gel. Last podcast, I kind of mentioned that, usually probably around this like number of games is when we see Painter's team start to really kind of figure out, what they're all about. And I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And I think Trayvon's taking his game to another level. Hopefully we can, I know Painter's talked about before, especially with the younger guys it's hard for them to string together a couple of good games. And I think we've seen Ivy do that. And hopefully we can see, I think Gillis has been pretty solid for the most part in most of his games. Newman's been up and down, but hopefully I think we're seeing an emergence of Ivy for sure.
I think you just have to keep Trevion out of foul trouble. I mean, it's so much different when he's on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the Big Ten when, Edey just gets, bodied up, and it's a lot harder to score on them than it is, Valpo or Indiana State, no disrespect to them, but it's just a different level of physical play in the Big Ten.
Absolutely. Yep, I thought everybody contributed pretty well tonight. Total team effort.
I think it's only who played the most. We had a tie. Yeah, Hunter and Trevion played 32 minutes. That was the most anyone played.
Which is good. You want your juniors playing a lot. So
Trevion needs to be out there that much. I mean, that's his. I mean, Hunter needs to play a lot too, but it's definitely.
It's his team. He's, I think, stepped up in the leadership role. He's their best player. Offense needs to go through him because he makes good decisions with the ball. Sometimes a little too flashy at times, but he makes good decisions usually with the ball.
Yeah.
So, it was a fun one tonight. Always fun to beat Indiana and win down in Bloomington. It's Mackey South now. Hey, I'm calling it that. It's 5 in a row down there. I'm just gonna keep calling it. We all grew up with losing down there.
It's just so weird just to think back. Just like, even just a handful of years ago, of like winning down there was like holy shit, we won down there. Like we're gonna see this for another 2 or 3 years, and now it's just like, no, won down there again.
Yeah, no, exactly.
His work.
Who was that game against? Who we played?
Red and white team. I don't know. It could have been Wisconsin.
Nebraska. I think it was Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh man, but it's still always fun. It's it was funny today at work. We had a big meeting, a Zoom meeting, and I was wearing a Purdue shirt, and another guy put a Purdue Zoom background on, and a couple of the IU alums were on, and one of them said, "Yeah, I would put my Zoom background, but I can't fit all 5 banners in the background."
Oh God!
I said, you mean the ones before I was even born? And I was the youngest one to call and ever. Ooh, that's a good one. Yep. Collecting dust.
Yeah. And they're not, I mean, it's great you have them, but they're not exactly helping you now. So
exactly. Like I always compare it. I'm a New York Yankee fan, but the only one I ever talk about 2009. I don't talk about the other 26 before that.
No, I think I've said it even before. Not sure, it might have just been you guys, but like I just feel like them talking about that, especially certain factions of their fan base, is just like, I mean, at this point, it's the 50-year-old talking about how great he was in high school. It's like it's irrelevant now. I mean, these kids growing up have seen Butler in the Final Four more times than Indiana and Purdue. But
I mean, when was the last time IU made it past Sweet 16? 2002.
They're when they made a championship. Yep.
Yeah, it's Maryland.
2.
Yep. It's it just, I think what irks them is, of course, they're supposed to be this blue blood prestigious, and they're seeing their little brother. I mean, 11 out of the last 12, 8 in a row, 5 in a row in Bloomington.
What's the series? What's the all-time series at? I think they said on the broadcast today.
3 and something. 80 something. Yeah.
Something, but I mean, we're getting the top players in the state lately. Archie's not getting it's bugging. It's eating at them, and then they just can't take it.
Well, because I saw, I think Fox tweeted a side by side of like the teams, like overall record, or head-to-head record, Big Ten titles, and obviously the national titles. It's obviously 5-0, and you see the comments. People are like, oh, the only one that matters is that last one, and it's just like,
I mean.
But they even said it on the TV broadcast. I don't know if you guys caught it. They're like, oh, Purdue actually leads this series pretty handily, but I bet a lot of people nationally don't realize that just because of
it's true.
Everybody IU has the
and a lot of those wins came like, I mean, 1900 early 1900s, but I mean,
I mean the whatever the 2010 decade was pretty good too.
I think it also gets under our skin. They know we have a really good basketball coach in Matt Painter.
Yeah.
And the transition from Katie to Painter was smooth, and they've been through 4 coaches since.
And Katie and Painter's what, like early 50s? I don't know how old Painter is.
Yeah. Right on the dot.
He's
50. Okay, so he's good for another.
He's hitting this
15
prime
years at least
right now. If that, I mean, he might be 5 years from his prime as a coach.
I mean, you look at. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon. He doesn't think he wants to leave. I mean, I know I mentioned the Rayfield Davis podcast where he interviewed Painter. That was a really cool interview, and he kind of talks about part of the reason why he turned down Missouri, and that was part of the reason was this game tonight was like no longer gets the chance. Which you haven't listened to the interview, go listen to the interview on Ray's podcast. It's awesome.
Boiler Up, it's called the title.
Yeah,
Type of Boiler Up. You should be able
Field
to
of
find
68 network. I think he joined that network, but it's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. But he talked about he'll never be able to go into Assembly Hall as Purdue's coach, trying to beat them, beat that entire arena against who's against them. And that was pretty cool. I mean, it's funny just as a kid who grew up a huge IU fan, in him and Painter to obviously go to Purdue, and then now I mean he's Boilermaker through and through, and it's pretty awesome. And I can't imagine he'd leave ever. Knock on wood.
No, I think he's pretty well put. I mean, unless a Duke or Carolina backs up the Brinks truck, or I don't see him fitting in the NBA though.
No. I don't think his mantra would fly in the NBA. Man, I just think of someone like Kyrie or Harden. Like, no way.
Don't even talk about the national joke.
Going for broke.
Good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Matt's probably a lifer. I mean, he's on pace to pass Gene as the all-time wins. He's already got the 1 Elite 8. Gene got the 2. I think he can pass Gene in most categories, and hopefully he gets Purdue to the Final Four, if not a championship, and he can be established as Purdue's best coach ever. Which,
I mean, you look at just the way he's recruiting now, and I mean, people have documented. He's now benefiting from years of goodwill. I mean, like, I don't feel like anybody really hates Painter that's in like the industry. I mean, like, he's a good guy.
In general, I was like, get on knucklehead. There's so much.
Yeah, in the industry, or people who actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, his involvement with USA Basketball is huge.
Yep.
I mean, people just like him, and what's nice is too is if you're a kid being recruited by Painter, he's going to be your coach, the entire time you're there. It's different at some of these other places where, even like at Indiana, if you're a kid being recruited by Archie, it's like, man, is this guy going to be here? And, for one, I'm 3 feet taller than him, but is he going to be my coach for, another 2 years? But speaking of which, I almost tweeted, but I didn't, just because I just didn't. I should have, but like, it's just funny. His belt buckle, Archie's belt buckle, because of his size, looked like a freaking cowboy belt buckle, and I just couldn't stop laughing at it.
I'm just gonna call him chin strap because that's where his mask goes.
Mask's optional in Assembly Hall, I guess.
Underwood was bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've my girlfriend and I grad. I've seen a lot of Indiana games, and that's pretty common for him. It's just he just doesn't. It's just a chin strap. I mean, I think Underwood's worse. Underwood just doesn't care, and I think takes it off. And I can't remember if Fran was bad. I can't remember what Fran was like, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, Matt does a pretty good job of keeping the gator up.
Yeah, I just laugh at Lutz. He's got his gator like all the way up above his ears, and you see like the part of his ball. So he's about to go skiing.
Yeah, whatever works. So, any closing thoughts? We'll wrap this up. I know we're getting late here.
This feels really good.
It does.
Good. I told you guys I hate this game. I hate this game so much until this happens when we win that it's like this is my favorite game of the year. But until then, it's my least favorite game of the year. I tell myself, it's just another game every year, and even like the Michigan State game, like all year I've been pretty relaxed during games, even like like the Indiana State game, or where they're like we might lose this game. I was just like, it's fine. The Miami debacle, I was fine, and then the Michigan State games because these two teams are my two least favorite teams on earth. It was good. It was good to get these 2 wins.
Yeah, it's been a good last 7 days for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling against the Boiler Up, Hammer Down. Keep it rolling against the Nittany Lions and the Buckeyes if we don't record before then. So great win, great night as always to be a Boilermaker. So brag to your IU friends, family, and coworkers tomorrow.
I don't have any IU friends.
I might not after tonight. So. All right. Well, we'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Boiler Up, Hammer Down.
Boiler Up.